everyone, and welcome to Love Selling, Hate Sales. I'm your host, Josh Wagner. I'm excited. This is the first episode of 2023. Hopefully everyone has enjoyed the best of Love Selling, Hate Sales that have been delivered over the past month or so. It was a nice break, but I'm glad to be back in action. 2023 is a year of transition for me. After 9 years with my previous organization, I've decided to make a pivot and transitioned into a couple of new roles, actually. The first is I have taken over as the Chief Revenue Officer of a cloud computing platform called Rising Cloud. I'm a first-time CRO, so a lot of what you're going to learn from me in the next weeks and months is going to be about my transition as a first-time CRO and what those things are going to be. The second role I've taken on is I am a partner in a new venture capital firm. More to come on that as the weeks unfold. My partner and I will be releasing the firm and some of the branding and details here in the coming weeks. So let's pivot into what today's episode is about. Today's episode is really about the top 3 things I've learned in my first 30 days as a first-time CRO. So let's do the quick rundown of some of the things that I dove into. The first thing I did as I came in was I just took a step back and listened. The second thing is I had to do a deep dive on the product. And the third is, how am I going to sell this thing? So let's unpack each of the 3 and talk a little bit about what some of the ins and outs are of each of those 3 phases. First thing is listening. I really want to understand our customers today, our prospects, our partners. Who are we talking to? What's working? What's not? What's resonating? What's not? And the first thing I did to do that and really get my arms wrapped around it was I did a deep dive into our CRM. And I just wanted to talk to people. So that really looked like me picking up the phone, calling customers, calling prospects, calling deals we won, deals we lost, leads, anything I could get my hands on. If there was a phone number in there and there was somebody in our pipeline at any time, I was going to give them a call just so I could sit back and listen and understand what's working and what's not. Obviously, if it wasn't a phone number, I started sending a lot of emails, started connecting with people on LinkedIn. But I have to tell you, the best feedback I got was picking up the phone and talking to people. It was amazing the things that I learned about what resonated with them when they did a demo. If they were confused about something, why was that? What was the part of the process where things slowed down or stopped? It really started to give me a framework for how I'm going to redesign the sales process. So think about it. There's been no sales leadership in here since the organization started 2 years ago. So not only am I trying to figure out how to sell it, but I'm also trying to build the infrastructure and the groundwork for what the process looks like as the organization scales. So the first thing is to take a step back and really listen and understand. That dovetails into number 2, which is a deep dive into the product. Now, you can't sell something if you don't understand what it is and what it does. But deeper than that, I really had to spend some time with the product team to understand our value. What are the pain points that this solution was built to solve? And what's amazing about this opportunity is this cloud computing platform is literally built to solve very specific pains that developers and users have that have brought their applications into the cloud over the years. Now, the flip side of that is we're competing with the 3 biggest companies in the world, AWS, Microsoft, and Google, but it really takes a deep understanding of the product in order for me to figure out, again, how to sell it. Now, I come, as many of you know, from a professional services and consulting background. So I never had something tangible to sell. This is a little bit different. So really looking at it through the lens of what are the problems? How does the product fit? But then going a layer deeper, because once you get over the value prop, what I've learned about this product is there are really a couple of different types of buyers, and you have to have deep product knowledge and talk to each of those buyers very independently. One is more of an executive type of business user buyer, and the other is a more technical developer type of buyer, and they resonate with different types of things. So being able to frame up that conversation in 2 different lights is super interesting to me. And that took a very, very deep dive into the product, which is obviously an ongoing learning curve for me. And then the third and final thing is, how do I sell this thing? And I know I touched on it in every other stage, but at the end of the day, first 30 days as the chief revenue officer looks like a lot like the first 30 days as a new sales rep. I'm really doing a deep dive and figuring out how I have to sell this thing. The only difference is that I have to figure out how to sell it myself, but then I have to build the systems and processes so that when I bring on other people, it's something that's scalable and repeatable. Now, I will tell you, a one-man show, as it were, you start to really think about how you systematize and automate certain things because there's only so much time in your day. And if you want to keep the prospecting engine on, you want to keep the meetings going, you want to satisfy your executives, there's a lot of different things going on. So how you sell it needs to be thought about through the lens of how do you sell it, but how do you sell it at scale as you build out a team? So as I wrap into just that final piece of how you sell it, there's a few things I want to touch on. The first is I really wanted to think about where we can win as an organization. And you've heard me say this on the show before, niche wins. And it's really an opportunity for me to drink my own Kool-Aid. And so I really wanted to drill into the niches of where we could win and how we can win fast and start to build up more revenue in the organization. So I really uncovered two primary go-to-market motions, one being through channel partners and two being direct. But each of those have their own niches within them where I think we can win. So if I look at our partnership and the partner ecosystem, how do we take advantage of and build trusted relationships with our partners who can help us overcome our first barrier in our sales process, which is just flat out trust. I've never heard of you. I don't know who you are. I'm with AWS. They're the king of the hill. I'm good here. How do I get over that barrier? And partnerships is really the key to that. And who are legitimate mid-market enterprise companies going to make those types of decisions? And I came up with three things that I'm testing and iterating on right now. The first is cloud service providers, those people that have data centers and are moving people off of a hardware infrastructure into the cloud. The second is managed service providers, those organizations that are helping companies build out and manage their IT infrastructure. And the third is actually the OEM, the hardware providers. They're kind of a back entry into managed service providers and cloud service providers because that's who they sell to. So think of your Lenovo's, your HPs, and your Dells who are providing that hardware to those other groups. So those are the three, we'll call them niches, that I'm really focused on from a partner standpoint because they help me get over that trust barrier. The second is how do we win direct business? And I had to even get more intentional here as I think about winning direct business. And this is likely going to be more in the SMB market. And I've really focused on three core use cases where our platform excels and will win hands down every single time. So this is why I've kind of taken a use case focus. The first is AI applications. Any organization that is built on AI, we're a slam dunk. We're an AI application ourselves. AI built for AI. The second is audio, video, and animation rendering. Any organization that does some sort of rendering is a really good fit for our platform. And the third is high volumes of data processing. So I've taken a little bit of a different approach based on use cases rather than based on an industry vertical or a horizontal market or something like that. I really want to focus in for direct business on how do we attack those three core use cases. And frankly, out of the gate, I think I'm really just going to start with AI. I've started some messaging in the market to really focus on that AI market. So if we look at the first 30 days as a first-time chief revenue officer, it comes down to three things. Sit back and listen. Take in all the information from prospects, customers, won deals, lost deals. It doesn't matter. You really just need to take a step back and listen. The second thing, learn the product inside and out. Learn it from your product people, learn it from developers, learn it from users. Really understand the ins and outs of the products and how it resonates to your different buyer types. The third, first 30 days as a CRO looks a lot like the first 30 days as individual contributors. You have to figure out how to sell it. And 1 and 2 are really diving into that. That's it for this episode of Love Selling, Hate Sales. I hope you enjoyed it. Any of you out there that are other first-time sales leaders, please ask any questions you want. Give me advice and tips. Thank you for listening and welcome back to Love Selling, Hate Sales.